Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Friday. Hope we're all okay. Hope we're all right. Hope we're all looking forward to a good weekend. Whatever you're up to this weekend, enjoy it. Stay safe. And Spurs playing on Sunday evening. It's a weird one. It's 7 p.m. Sunday UK time. Spurs playing away to Southampton. So we've got some really interesting facts, figures, got some injury news. And Southampton, hey, they are somewhat struggling injury-wise, a bit like Spurs. So we'll be talking about that. I want to talk about the Ange comments on Timo Werner and publicly calling him out. I want to talk about his comments on the youngsters as well. Some good stuff, actually. I think some really good, topics to debate on. So let's jump in and let's talk. And let's quickly chat about Southampton. And right now, they're sitting bottom of the league. They've played 15, they've won 1, they've drawn 2, and they've lost 12. In that time, they've scored only 11 in their 15, and they've conceded 31. So they're scoring about 0.66 a game. They're conceding just over 2 a game. You know, it is pretty much just 2 a game. They've got a goal difference of -20, and they're already 8 points off safety. Crystal Palace are 17th at the moment. So right now, this is a struggling side down on the South Coast. Morning Spurs, morning Polly, how are we? Morning Bazza, morning Luke, how are we all? So look, we are dealing with a struggling team at the moment, and it's a weird one. I was looking at Southampton, and I was looking at their fixtures, and I'm not going to look from the start of the season, but I mean they beat Everton 1-0 at home on the 2nd November. They then lose away to Wolves 2-0, which is a big loss. They then lost at home to Liverpool 3-2. And actually, they looked all right in that game. They were dangerous in that game. They then drew 1-0 away to Brighton. So it's a good result there. They lost, obviously, 5-1 at home to Chelsea. It was one of those days at the office. And lost 1-0 away to Aston Villa last weekend. They're not. Do you know what? It's one of those games. If we step aside from the Chelsea game and let's just take that as an anomaly, they don't really seem to get absolutely sent to the cleaners and back. You know, I mean, they knocked Everton out in the EFL Cup. They've knocked out. They won 5-3 at Cardiff in the same thing. They're still in the EFL Cup actually because they beat Stoke City. Obviously, Ashley Phillips scoring in that game. I mean, they lost 1-0 at home to Man City, away to Man City. I'm just looking at the other games. I mean, lost 1-0 away to Newcastle, lost 1-0 at home to Forest. I mean, drew with Ipswich at home. That was one that you probably would try and chalk up to a win if you could. That's a proper 6-pointer. So you know what I mean? They don't seem to get absolutely pumped. It's not one of those ones. I just think when they do concede a couple, it's, 3, 4, 5. But normally they're in these games. And, watching these games, they are in them. And they are playing some good stuff. And they do get on the ball. They're not a team that sits back and, kind of just welcomes you on and tries to hit you on the counter. They try and get on the ball and they try and play their stuff, which all the credit in the world to. I mean, away at Brighton, they had 47% possession. They were quite good against Brighton, actually. I remember watching that game. They were quite good in that game. Could have won that game, actually. Brighton were really good in the first half and then sort of tailed off in the second. I mean, losing 3-2 at home to Liverpool, I mean, Liverpool had to come from 2-1 down in the second half from the 56th minute onwards to get back into that game, and they gave Liverpool all kinds of issues. So this isn't a team that, even though you look at the league standing, you look at where they are, and it's something that you can chalk up to a win. It's not one of those games, and that's what the Premier League's all about, isn't it? If we're in form, we probably win this easy, but Southampton will look at this game as they can win against a very fragile, in many ways, Spurs, potentially so. Let's look at some stats and figures. Southampton obviously just won one of their last 6 home league games against Spurs. They've lost only 1 in their last 6. They've won 2 and drawn 3. The loss was a 5-2 loss in September of 2020. Tottenham have only failed to score in their last 22 Premier League meetings with Southampton. So, look, you might not be able to chalk up to a win. You might not even chalk up to a draw or a loss. You can chalk it up to Spurs scoring. And also, Southampton have scored in each of their last 15 Premier League games against Tottenham, their longest scoring streak against an opponent in the competition's history. So, look, they're probably going to score by the sounds of things. So, if, by the way, both teams to score, if you're a betting man, both teams to score might be the shout here. Tottenham are unbeaten in their last 13 Premier League games against sides starting the day bottom of the table. So, obviously, they are bottom at the moment. And they've won 10 and drawn 3 in that time. They've also scored 42 times, and they've also netted at least 3 times in each of the last 8. So Spurs seem to, kick lumps out of those teams at the bottom. Southampton have won just one of their last 28 Premier League games, and that was against Everton only a few weeks ago. And that was also their only clean sheet in the last 27. They've drawn 6 and lost 21 in that time. My God. That's brutal. I didn't know it was that bad. So look, interesting stuff, really, all things considered. I was looking at their injury list. I mean, Bazunu, the keeper, he ruptured his Achilles tendon last season in April, so he's still out. They've said Ross Stewart is still out until the new year. Lallana is out. They reckon, again, will be a few weeks. He might be back, but unlikely. Jack Stevens obviously got sent off against Chelsea, so he's missing. They reckon Aaron Ramsdale will be back for this game. Bednarek's back. Onuachu, the absolute huge man himself, he'll be back. Will Smallbone will. They reckon he's still out, to be fair, as well as Juan Larios. So I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players missing for this game. Obviously, we'll wait for Russell Martin and his press conference. That's wow. They are down bad. They are down bad. Who's sacked yet? Daniel Levy? No, Matt, sorry. And Dr. Tottenham come to town. Well, let's see. And obviously for Spurs, obviously playing last night with Rangers, I think we're coming out of that game with no injuries, which, do you know what? For once, it's nice to come out of a game without an injury. I don't think anyone's going to be back for this game, in terms of injury-wise. Obviously, Mickey's going to be missing probably till the new year. Ben's probably missing for at least another week, if not 2. Romero's obviously gone till pretty much the end of January. Odegaard's still gone. Richarlison's still out. Mikey Moore still injured. Basuma's suspended. Am I missing anyone else? I think that's everyone that can't play. Yeah, that's everyone that can't play. Jesus Christ, that's ridiculous. 3 centre-backs. 3 centre-backs, one of them being a left-back. Because he'd have played, if we had fit centre-backs, Ben should have played at left-back yesterday. But obviously, injuries-wise, couldn't. So you're missing 3 centre-backs, you're missing your striker, you're missing 2 wingers, you're missing 2 centre-mids, both of them being 6s. And that's an interesting conversation, really. Who do we think is going to be playing at 6 this weekend? I think the obvious answer is probably Pape Matar. I think that's probably the safest shout. As much as people sit there and anyone that sits there and cries, Archie Gray should be playing his actual position, shows a real lack of awareness in this situation. Yes, maybe he should. So we're just going to play without a centre-back. We're just going to play Radu Dragusin in a back 2 on his own. Archie's playing centre-back this weekend. So it's going to be Pape playing the 6. Will they go Maddison and Kulu? For me, I hope they don't. And there's a good reason why I hope they don't. Because I hope Maddison plays. And I do genuinely hope he plays because there's a good reason for it. Just bear with me. I hope Lucas Bergvall plays in the midfield. I think Bergvall being in the midfield after the cameo last night looked like the only player other than Destiny that was willing to get on the ball. I mean, Destiny Doggy was the only one that really in the first half willingly got on the ball and did anything with it. I think Bergvall, obviously, him and Pape really changed the game, I think, between them with just energy. So I think both of them will start, if I'm honest. And then right wing, I think Kulu's playing right wing. That's why I didn't think he's playing midfield, by the way. So if you were a bit like, you're dropping Kulu, what? No, I'm just putting him out on the right wing because at the moment, let's be real, Timo, not good enough. Johnson, yesterday, not good enough. His lack of, I mean, what I didn't get is, and I want to come to Ange's comments in a minute. Ange calling out Timo for the lack of effort. I hope he did have a conversation with Brennan Johnson because I think Brennan Johnson was just as lazy yesterday. The reason they were able to put a cross in was because Johnson decided not to track the right back. You know, kick Son all you want, but Son at least would have tried to attack the right back and at least try and put some pressure on him. You know, so yeah, I think Sonny will be out on the left. I think Solanke through the centre. Good cameo yesterday off the bench. He'll be playing obviously this week, and yeah, Kulu on the right. I think that's my front three for the weekend. Strong front three. I think the midfield three. I'm going Madders. I'm going Lucas Bergvall. I'm going Pape at the 6. Again, you kind of work with what you can work with. Keeper, Big Fraser. I've got no complaints about Fraser Forster. I was thinking before we started playing, I was thinking he's gonna have a few games in him that he's gonna play poorly and things like that. But this is a big game for him as well. Just like Rangers, this is a big game for him as well. But the back four, Destiny playing at left back, Dragozin and Archie Gray at centre back. Pedro Porro. I saw Ange after the game on the pitch talking to him. I think he was sympathising with him. I couldn't, I'm not a lip reader. I can't tell. But by the looks of things, I think he was being more sympathetic than digging him out or anything like that. I just think Ange knows you're playing through a rough patch. I know you are. Just keep knuckling down. Because there's games where he turns up and there's games where he doesn't. And maybe that could be a fatigue thing. I don't know. But I don't see Jed Spence playing. As much as people want Jed Spence playing, I don't think he will play. I've missed some comments. Hang on. Morning, sorry. Dorrance is always there for another centre back, but he'll probably be on the bench. Agreed. Morning, Jazz. Lucas would have started last night. But he didn't due to being ill. Absolutely. Couldn't watch the game last night because I was at social, but I met a guy who went to school with Dorrington and Lucas Gunter. Oh, that's a shout. Was it a D's by any chance? We don't really play a 6 as a 6. No, we don't, to be fair. You really, between the 6 and the 8, take it between you to get the ball off the back four, So, they're more than capable enough, Lucas and Pape. And there's a lot of energy between those two. And I think it could be one of those games where you're going to need a lot of energy from your midfield. I don't always look at Maddison as the energy because he's more of obviously the creative kind. But I look at the other two as more of a we need some energy. And I thought Maddison played a lot better when he had dropped a bit deeper and he could face up and see players. His link-up play with obviously Destiny and Sonny when Solanke had come on. So Sonny moved out to the left. I thought, it was important. And that's why I think Solanke was such a big thing against Rangers. Will Lucas Bergvall be able to do the Kulu role? That bit further up, I don't really see it. I think he's more of a traditional 8 box to box, and Maddison might have to play a bit further up. And will you get the most out of Maddison? We'll have to wait and see. But obviously, in that regard, if things aren't going well, Lucas might come off and Kulu might come in as centre and Johnson might go out the right. All those things can be coming in. George is so lazy, doesn't get within 5 yards of an opponent when defending. Lucas has so much fire in his belly to prove himself. I felt we should have played Lancashire last night instead of Son as a 9. Son was very poor last night as a striker. Well, he's not a striker, is he? I don't think Ange truly trusts Lancashire just yet. Obviously, I think Lancashire getting sent off probably has not helped Ange and his feelings towards Lancashire. You can't trust him at the moment, unfortunately, because he seems to be a bit of a hothead for getting that sending off. And that's what Ange maybe feels. I'm not saying I feel it. I'm just saying that's what Ange maybe feels. Johnson doesn't. I don't think Johnson works hard. Johnson, at the start of the season, worked hard defensively. But it seems to have just dropped off. And, is that a fatigue thing? I don't know. I'm not going to make excuses for it. I'm just going to point out what I say. And that's that. When I look at the key battle, I mean, look, people are going to talk, obviously. Hey, Petrossi, mate, how are you? People are obviously, they're going to talk Southampton's main man, the right winger. I say he's a right winger. They plays all over the place, but Tyler Dibbling. Now, I see Spurs fans going, "Oh, I love Tyler Dibbling. Let's get Tyler Dibbling." And I was thinking, okay, he's a good player. I'm not denying that. But don't you think he'd have 1 or 2 bad games and people would call out the fact that we're buying from Southampton, we're not buying from one of the bigger teams? you wouldn't be able to win, and Dibbling would get thrown under the bus like any other one of our younger players gets thrown under the bus, because we've got a really, really horrific, toxic atmosphere at the club. I like him, but you won't be. The thing is, as a football team and a football club, you can never make all your fans happy. You can't. Dibbling looks like a really exciting player. He does. No denying it. How much he'd cost is probably an absolute bloody fortune. And people will go, yeah, but he's got proven experience. Like, can I present to you Wilson Odobert? Has the exact same thing and people still complained about it. He's not Desiree Doué. You can't make everyone happy, you know. Morning Adventures, how you mate? I was so disappointed with Johnson yesterday. I was as well. Or like Madders got thrown under the bus after the first 10 matches because we bought lower than those fans expect us to be, like Madrid. Yeah, you can't make everyone happy, unfortunately. For them, obviously, Kyle Walker-Peters at the back. I watched Kyle Walker-Peters, and he has been quite solid for them this year at left back, you know, because he plays the inverted left back role. And I think actually really suits him at left back, which is the irony to it all. So he's been quite good. Look, if I'm honest, Spurs should win this game. Now, will they is another question, but Spurs should win this game. Let me put a poll up, because I want to see what you guys think, so you can just tell me through this. Right. Tell me what you think this result will be. I don't need the scoreline just yet, but just win, loss, draw, whatever you think. Lol, exactly. Dibbling is just another Odobert. We need some more experienced players. Again, only chance we go Dibbling is if when Southampton get relegated, since I see them going down. Well, yeah, there's that, isn't it? And then again, you'll get annoyed Spurs fans going, "What, we're buying for a relegation side again? Look at that." You've missed everything, Polly. Oh no. It's all right. Speaking nonsense anyway, Polly, you've missed nothing. For me, I think Spurs win this game. I do. I've just seen some weird transfer news around Tyler Dibbling for no reason. I think Spurs win this game, if I'm honest. They should win this game, even with some of the injuries you have, because Southampton are missing players. You know, this is ironically one of those games where we're coming against a team that actually is missing some players as well. You know, haven't really come up against one of those teams very much this season. This is one of those chances where we do actually come up against a team that, you know, I feel for them, because I feel for us when we're down that many injuries, and they're down many injuries as well. But they are bottom of the league. You know, we are what? Just double check. We are the second top goal scorers in the Premier League. Okay. We concede just over one a game. They don't even score one a game. So if we just gave them one, they concede two, and Spurs score two a game. So in essence, I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs. If we score two a game and they concede two a game, and we concede 1.5 and they only score 0.66, then I'm going 2-1 Spurs. Venturous 3-1, Solanke, Kulu, and Johnson. Fair enough. By the looks of things, we all pretty much think a win, which is always positive and nice. Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to go a Slanky double. I think his selflessness, I think, actually, for this game, I think will be a little bit less on show, and I think he'll be a lot more aggressive when it comes to being in front of goal. I mean, yesterday alone, you know, he could have, you know, taken a shot, but instead he laid it off, and ironically, we could have had a penalty, but then Kulu scores it, so it's you know, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I think 2-1. I think just looking at the evidence, they score against us, we score against them. They concede so many, we score so many. We concede a bit, they don't score enough, but I think they'll get their one this game. People calling out Ange because he blasted Timo after praising him in pre-match press conference a few days ago. Like, a manager can't change his stance on a player. Predicting a win, but I wouldn't be surprised if we drop points. Well, there you go. Let's talk about this Timo situation. So Ange was asked about Timo, and he said he wasn't playing anywhere near the levels he can. When you've got 18-year-olds, it's not acceptable to me. I told him that. He's a senior international, a German international. In the moment we're in now, I need everyone to be at least going out there and giving the best they can. What he produced wasn't acceptable. When I'm asking the younger players to do massive jobs, I expect more from the senior players like him. And I saw people, I mean, you get people going, he's just on the sidelines, hands in his pockets, doing nothing. And I have a couple of feelings toward this, and I'm going to give you both of them. And the first feeling you could go with is he shields these players from the media a lot. And every week you hear from these players, oh, yeah, we need to do better. We'll be back at it next game. And then they turn up and give the exact same stinky performances they always do and have done for years. And he finally went, enough is enough. I can't protect you if you're going to play that poorly. I need you to do more. You're on 165 grand a week. You're a German international. You're a Champions League winner. You know, you've won trophies. You've played for Chelsea, RB Leipzig. You aren't some 16-year-old. You're not Mikey Moore, where Ange would shield you. You're in your late 20s. You need to be doing more. And, you know, Timo maybe is lacking in confidence. But Ange would have had, you know, behind closed doors, telling these guys, I need more from you. You need to step up. You need to do X, Y, and Z. And yesterday, watching that first half performance by Timo Werner just was not good enough. And okay, maybe he does it behind closed doors. But again, he's probably done that for the last couple of months to players, and nothing has changed. The effort levels are still, at times, pathetic. Like I said with Brennan Johnson yesterday. I don't think his effort levels were good enough. He warranted being substituted at half time, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys agreed with me, but same with Timo. I thought both of them should have been off at half time. I thought Solanke should have come on. I thought Kulu should have come on. And you've gone with Son, Solanke, and Kulu. Obviously, Johnson goes out to the left wing, doesn't track his right back. Right back goes off. They score. That was my whole point about Johnson, by the way, yesterday. So on that, I get the comments. Maybe it's best behind closed doors. People saying, well, that's going to alienate the locker room. Why would it? Do you think Timo Werner has that much of a pull in that locker room? Half the time, the players don't even want to. You see Desti. Desti doesn't want to even pass to him. So, sorry, let me end that poll. Get out of the way for you all. So, you know, I didn't have an issue with the comments. I probably, yes, still would say behind closed doors is the best way of going about it. But again, if you're consistently getting the exact same level of efforts and performances out of players for the last few months and it's not working, you change your tactics. Ange does it in game, and you get people crying that Ange doesn't change his tactics, which he does, which they just can't see because all they see is 4-3-3 and they see nothing changed in there. But he does. And if you look closely at the games, you'd know. So again, I can't even sit in there going, I don't mind it. Now, look, I think Spurs want Timo gone in January because I think they'll just go, Yang can take his place. Now, for me, I would rather Timo would be gone. I would rather Yang comes in and takes. I mean, when's Odebear going to be back? You know, if Odebear, I mean, I'd rather him come in and take Odebear's European spot and get another attacker. Will they is another question. I'm just talking hypotheticals here. Obviously, we can't just cancel Timo's loan. They said in the summer there was something to do that RB Leipzig would have to give the acceptance that we can do that. We'd have to foot a bill or two, no doubt. What they are, we don't know, but that's the power that they have. I think Ange was fair to say what he said. Feel if Kulu has Johnson's pace, he'd be one of the best players in the Prem. Maybe some of his game, I think, is down to him not being quick at times. I think it works for him at times, you know. Johnson didn't try beating his man. Well, he did in the first 10 minutes and then stopped. He was, you know, getting past his fullback, but then just sort of stopped. He looked lively in 10. I was like, Johnson's at it. We're going to be having a good Johnson game. And I think at times he made good runs and we didn't play him in, but there was nothing else, you know. Do you think Timo was an Ange signing? If I'm honest, I think they went, we can get Timo back really easily. Would you take him back? And I think it was right at the start of the summer. I think Ange probably went, yeah, as long as I can get X, Y, and Z. And I think he probably got lured in. It might have been a bit of an Ange signing, to be fair. And if it is, Ange has to hold it on him. But then I also think that it is definitely a club signing. Anyone thinks that Timo wasn't also a club signing is cuckoo. I imagine Ange has tried a lot to motivate Werner to get the best out of him, and this is the last attempt from Ange. Werner is a millionaire, and he can take a bit of criticism. Well, you'd hope they can take criticism, you know. Ange wanted Timo at Celtic, so it's an Ange sign. I think it's an Ange. I think that first 6 months maybe an Ange signing, but it's a cheap loan deal for Spurs. Come on, it's definitely a club signing as well. So look, that was what he said about Timo. I think Timo's gone in January if they can help it. I want to talk this last little bit of the video. I'm going to talk about what he said about Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall. Talking about Archie, he said he's 18. It's a big experience for him. I thought he handled himself really well. We're asking him to do something that, as an 18-year-old in his first year at this level, to play an unfamiliar position in such big games, I think it's outstanding what he's doing. I thought Lucas was excellent when he came on as well. He was due to start tonight, but wasn't feeling very well today. He's a bit under the weather today. We had to keep him on the bench. But that's a massive positive for us. Those two, as 18-year-olds, to be already contributing and experiencing these things will be of enormous benefit to us. I agree. It will be an enormous benefit to us. Like I said, I think Lucas was a massive reason why that game turned around. Him, Pape, Kulu, and Solanke was a massive reason. I definitely do think that. I would like to see Lucas start this weekend against Southampton, personally. For an 18-year-old who doesn't exactly look physically imposing, puts himself about into tackles, wins headers as well. That's the other nice thing. I think he was getting on the ball. He was trying to G up and get the team moving. And I think that, in a nice way, infected the other teammates to pick up their levels. Him and Pape coming on, bundles like of Duracell batteries, I think infected the rest of them in a good way. Not infected in a bad way, just in a good way. So I think on Archie, I thought Archie was very solid yesterday. Again, he's a centre mid playing centre back as an 18-year-old in his first year in the Premier League and in Europe. All you can do is be impressed with him at the moment. Now, we need to get players back fit and healthy and get a centre back in January. Keep Phillips out on loan, no issues with that. Get another centre back in January. Get Archie Gray some time in the midfield. I think as a thank you to Archie, it wouldn't do any harm for Ange to go, we've got Hoffenheim and Elfsborg. Let him play in that midfield against Elfsborg. Get a centre-back at the centre-back. You should have at least Ben Davies back at least, if not one of the other two as well. Get Archie into that midfield if we can. He'd probably play in fullback in those games, so is what it is. But I've been really impressed with both of those guys, yesterday. I've been impressed with Archie so far this season. I think what I saw a comment that talked about his, older family members who are professional footballers who they were mentally tough, robust players. And you can see it in him as an 18-year-old who has played one season in the Championship, to come up to the Premier League, to play left back, to play right back, to play centre back, to play a little bit of centre mids, and to no grumbles, no huge clangers or anything like that. Under a lot of pressure to perform. I think, this season, yes, maybe isn't what we hoped it is so far. And maybe there aren't a lot of positives, but this is one that we can say, I think he is going to be a fantastic player. Let's hope we get to see a little bit more Lucas Bergvall that we can say the same thing, Right, last few comments. The youngsters are killing it. I've seen reports and heard that we update the medical team yet again due to how many injuries we've had, again, in such a short time. Well, they need to look at themselves in the mirror. If you're doing so poorly at work, you're normally on a performance plan. A PIP, they call it. These guys aren't, just because you're a Premier League physio and doctors doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to, just do your job properly. And I think there's at times, I will back them, that I don't think it's all down to them, but there's definitely times where they need to step up their levels, because I think there's times where they've let us down. I think it's a whole club issue. So I'm not going to put it all on them, but they are also a part of the issues. There were a great moment at the end when Maddison went down and Bergvall picked him up off the ground, almost say, come on, time's running out. Yeah, I think Maddison could be probably a bit knackered by the end of the game. And Bergvall, just energy. Lucas dictated the game better than Biss has done all season. That's a stretch. Come on. Bissouma's had some good games. What's happening when we sign Archie? He's proven himself above and beyond. Absolutely. Young is going to need to come in and hit the ground running because we need bodies up there. Again, I'm not putting pressure on Young. Go and sign another forward who is a good-to-go player now and let Yang develop. We need to give Yang 6 months. We really do. We can't treat him the way we've treated other youngsters in the past. we should treat Yang the exact same way that people coddle Mikey Moore. Give him 6 months. If he's coming from the other side of the world to a big club, and already as the club, it's not just Caleb. I'm not picking on Caleb, but there's a lot of people already going, he needs to be unreal already. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. I think 6 months. 6 months. You give him as much time in that 6 months as he needs. Next season, let's hope to see some real showing. Now, if he comes out of blocks and is absolutely on fire, brilliant. For me, that's a bonus. But I'm going to give him all the time he needs. Young's going to be given a lot of time. We know Son will have his contract year clause extended to help him settle. Yeah, I don't know when that's going to get announced, but it will be. Does anyone remember when Lamela was out for a year with that abductor issue and we sent him back to Roma and to the medical staff there, then we sent him to Argentina? Yeah, it could be nice. It could be nice to get some professionals. But that was a long time ago, to be fair. So hopefully, in that time, we've improved. I think he'll need his yin to his yang. Fair play. But anyway, thanks very much for joining me today. Let me know down in the comments down below your thoughts and feelings about the game on Sunday, 7 p.m. Weird time. Hate that. Cuts into my NFL watching time. And yes, I will speak to you all hopefully a little bit later on the second channel when I upload or tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Peace.